everyone, I'm doing a portrait painting demonstration today. I'll try to explain what I do as good as I can, and I'll give you some insights into the process and tips that hopefully will help you improve your portrait painting skills. Previous video that I've done was sort of a prequel to this one. It's where I showed how I mix colors and prepare the palette. I usually start from lightly drawing general outlines on the canvas from my sketches where I've developed the main idea, or from reference photos. Now, I know many artists who skip this step completely, or they pick up some paint and loosely establish main forms that way. You know, just find what works for you. That's my technique right now. It may change in the future, but now it works for me perfectly. I think it's better to outline main figures or elements to ensure that you will put everything in place and have correct proportions and stuff like that. When I have my palette and everything else ready, I begin the painting. I like to start with eyes, maybe because it's the main focal point, I'm not sure. At this stage, the main objective is to put values in their places, with almost no details. After you've laid down the main values, you can go back and add some details, but be careful with that and don't over-define everything. It's a pretty common mistake that people do. They go all in painting these little details, they put these harsh lines and edges, when in reality everything is much softer, subtle, more smooth. Also guys, I want to stress that that's how I do it, and that's just one of many ways of how you can approach portrait painting. Alright, so back to the painting. Here I'm making some progress. I pay very close attention to the values at this stage. The value represents the darkness or the lightness of a color. It's what creates dimensions, the form that we see. Like the area around her eyes, for example, is darker, and the area closer to the brows is more lit, therefore lighter, which shows the structure of the face under these lighting conditions. You see what I mean? If the value is wrong and the lit area is not light enough, the face will look more flat and less realistic. Quick tip along the way: if you aren't painting from life and you use some reference pictures, you need to have good quality photos. It's not that having a good set of references is an add-on, like it's gonna make it easier, but actually the thing is that if you have a bad reference, most of the times it's gonna negatively impact your painting without you even noticing it, and it's gonna make things way harder for you, believe me. Second most important thing after the values in portraiture is to achieve, as I call it, the lively color. I touched on it in a color mixing video where I've said that skin tone has many subtle hues, some greens, blues, reds, that we may not even notice right away, but it's the key. So always check in with the reference. Back to what I've told you about reference photos, some of them may not capture the subtle shifts of color, especially if they have some sort of filter applied. So to give more of a realistic look in this regard, you have to keep this in mind and add these hues where it's needed to make the face more natural and lively. Like, for example, cheeks, nose tip, ears are usually more reddish, pinkish. The area around the mouth tends to have a hint of yellow, and the area between an eye and a nose has a purplish bluish shade. There are some other nuances. We observe these things in real life all the time. All I'm saying is that we can apply it to improve our portrait painting skills. While you're working on the face, it's good to put some background in, or in my case hair color, because it's gonna help you to set the values correctly. Also, I'd like to say that the style varies from artist to artist, obviously. An essential part of it is what the paint strokes look like. Do you have them loose? Do you smooth them out? Do you leave them rough and unblended on purpose? The truth is, many great realist painters painted very loosely, with almost no small details, and this shows you that the key to paint more realistically is not to paint every single detail, but rather put values and colors in the right places. Literally just that. Make it work as a whole and don't worry too much about small details. Next tip, revise the darkest darks and the lightest lights from time to time. Occasionally you'll see that darks are faded because it's hard to get them right at the first try, so the painting is losing the contrast and the depth. And the lights may not be light enough, or in some cases highlights would be exaggerated way too much. You gotta keep it in check. This alone can take your painting to the next level, when the darks are dark enough and the lights are as light as they should be. It seems so simple, but you gotta keep an eye on it throughout the whole painting process. I usually come back to some areas of painting when the first layer is dry. That's when I can fix or maybe change some things if necessary, and then I do glazing. Again, only if I need to, it depends on the piece. Glazing is basically applying a thin transparent layer of paint on top of a dry opaque layer, and it helps to fully achieve that variety of hues that skin has that we talked about. In case of this painting, it's just a little touch, but it can make a big difference. So that's pretty much it. I'm just finishing the background here. I hope you guys enjoyed this painting and the video in general. I was thinking about making more videos like that, so let me know if you'd like me to. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. See you. Bye.